What's up, everybody? How we all doing this weekend? It is the beginning of October. Fall has finally started. It's starting to get a little colder here in the Great White North. And this is the Transformer Slag podcast live stream Saturday night main event. How you all doing? My name is Proto Man. If this is your first time, I apologize. I'm about to waste 2 hours of your life. It has been quite a week for Transformers. I have not seen something of this level in a while, in terms of like every single day was just some big drop of news. Not since the stuff of let's say a multi-day San Diego Comic-Con where we're expecting all kinds of stuff and everything like that. And it's been crazy. It's been crazy. 5 days of madness. And a little bit of other stuff too. So we're going to go into the news like we always do this week with some updates of stuff that we've gotten throughout the week. Little adjustments to what we've learned from everything. And then we'll just jump in the super chat questions and relax for the rest of the night. I just want to say before we started today, I went to KFC, the fast food joint. I haven't been to one in forever since the Big V hit. And I had a double down because I was like, if I'm going to go to KFC, I'm going to go big or I'm going to go home. So I had a double down, and oh man, I forgot how much that is. I had a double down and a Canadian KFC poutine, which they use their chicken sauce, which is insane. Needless to say. Ooh, I'm going to be doing a lot of running tomorrow to work that off. Anyways, guys, let's jump into the news. We got a lot to cover. So, first up, Monday came, and it hit us all by surprise. It wasn't a Transformer Tuesday. It was a Monday madness that would span every day at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the rest of the week. And what was that? It was the Golden Disc Collection. So, we finally know what is happening with Amazon. They have a very good relationship with Hasbro. When they did all their little exclusives for Siege, it was very successful. When they did the Galactic Odyssey collection with Earthrise, it was extremely successful. People were angry, legitimately angry at some of those releases because of how quickly they sold out and all the drama with it. And the Golden Disc Collection is no different, but man, is it going to be a hammer on your wallet. Between these figures and a certain somebody that's going to be ending in a couple days on HasLab, it is probably going to be the biggest drop on Transformer fans' wallets for a very long time, outside of doing a like BotCon back in the day where a Primus package and additional exclusives would run you easily $500, no problem. This is crazy. So Golden Disc Collection was shown to us. We finally have some, ideas of what's going on with everything. Pre-orders have gone up, and we're going to kind of break down everything one at a time. What's going on, the little homages and stuff. I touched a little bit on it in my individual segments as the news dropped, but I figure I have a better visual platform here right now in the stream to do that with you guys. So, shall we? Now, the first one here, obviously, we've talked about Puffer and Road Ranger to death. The only thing that we really learned from this Golden Disc Collection announcement is the story behind it, how Puffer is actually due to the quantum surge fused together of Huffer and Pipes, making him technically the first G1 Fusor, I guess, by the quantum surge, I guess. But that's probably the least exciting of the bunch because we've covered these two guys over nauseum over the past couple of weeks through all kinds of crazy stuff. So let's get into the three others that were very interesting. And starting with number one here, let's talk about Jackpot and Sites. So using the Studio Series 86 Jazz mold, no surprise that this was going to happen sooner or later. On the bottom right there is a past historical example of a Jazz mold being turned into Jackpot. You see animated Jazz with animated Jackpot. which was a Transformer Collector Club exclusive in their 3.0, I believe it was. I believe it was 3.0 they did it. And, you know, that all was pretty much inspired and spawned by the original on the top right there, Generation 1 1990 original Jackpot with Sites Action Master, which had a very jazz Porsche kind of looking chest in a fluoro Deary kind of way. So it's no surprise that when they looked at that Studio Series 86 Jazz mold, they went, okay, we could go stepper / ricochet. We could do shattered glass colors. You know, there's a lot of different routes you could go. You could even go Zoom Zoom, which was the deep cut of Vinyl Tech, which was a red jazz. But they decided to go with Jackpot, give us a brand new head sculpt, and best of all, which I was surprised, kept the MSRP price point of a deluxe, despite the fact that it comes with bigger packaging and an extra Battle Master, or in this case, his little, you know, Action Master buddy of Sites. So $22.99 to get all of that. You know what? I don't know if it's Hasbro doing the pricing, and congrats to Hasbro, or I don't know if it's Amazon doing the pricing and keeping the prices low. Congrats to them. And you won't hear me praise Amazon very often, so I'm quite surprised by the choice for a $22.99 price point, despite everything that you get with this. And supposedly each Golden Disc Collection release also comes with a little extra something that they haven't announced yet. Might be a little trading card, might be a little something, but according to them, it's a little something also exciting in terms of fiction that'll be included also. So pretty cool. So there's a lot going on with this little collection of figures, but I like it a lot. Pretty cool. The only thing that I have to say about it is in the bio of Jackpot and Sites, they say that the Quantum Surge changed Sites from his normal aerial bird form into this pterodactyl form, but at the sacrifice of his gun mode, now he's an axe. Well, I mean, you look in the right there, you know, the Siege the Tetradon or whatever it was called there had a gun mode. So you will be able to do the gun mode with your Jackpot here. I guess maybe whoever wrote the bio never messed with the actual Siege mold and had idea what was going on. Maybe they didn't get the memo. But I dig this a lot. Let's get some water in me. It's been a long day. A lot of sodium in me from that double down. Oof. But I dig this a lot. I love the brand new head sculpt. I remember when I showed this to Jaws D, he pre-ordered it right away. He was like, damn, son, and right away got it. This is great stuff. Very excited. Super cool. Sold out like almost instantly on Hasbro Pulse. Still available on Amazon.com and kind of available on Amazon.ca for Canadians. It's not 100% up yet, but if you look for the link, it's there. So pretty cool stuff. Next up, talk about the deep cut coming. Let's talk about Mutant Tigertron. Now, before I get into Mutant Tigertron, you know what's fascinating? When we first got our announcements of the listings of Kingdom way back in like early 2000, our Commander Class Rodimus was called Mutant Commander Class Rodimus. And I wonder if there was some kind of a mix-up in the names and stuff before they learned all of that. So just wanted to mention that quickly at the beginning of this. So here we have Tigertron Voyager class, technically the first ever official announcement of this mold's existence outside of dubious means. So this is the first time most people saw this Tigertron mold on an official capacity because Hasbro kind of failed to do that. Orange Tigertron, throwback to, if you look at the top right image there, a throwback to the 1996 Toy Fair Tigertron, which was before we knew about the white tiger that we know today and before the ease of access of the internet and stuff like that. Dave Van Domelen, one of the OGs of the Transformer fandom on his old website, went to Toy Fair in 1996, got these photos of this soon-to-be orange Tony the Tiger-looking Tigertron, and he shared them on his website. And then, of course, when the episode of Fallen Comrade aired, the orange Tigertron was now a white, and the rest was history. The little image there is from on the top is from the episode Law of the Jungle, where Dinobot and Tigertron watch a orange Tiger capture, I believe it's a deer, and kill it. and kind of the closest we have to a CG version of that character, if you will. On the bottom right there is the original prototype box art that was going to be used for the Maximal Tigertron, and that's why that same box art that was used for the actual Tigertron in the end, why the choice of the mutant head was used with this Tigertron, was to keep a consistency with that of the box art and everything like it. I love this a lot. It's a super deep cut to Transformers prototype lore. And I honestly was expecting the Masterpiece to do this. I was expecting Masterpiece Tigertron to do it because he was supposed to have a alternate head sculpt that was going to have this mutant head. And ultimately, in the end, we just never saw anything of it. It was on the mold sprue from Tigertron from the factories for Masterpieces, and we never saw anything that came of it from there. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. This guy here, he's $31.99, I believe, which again, standard Voyager price point. Pretty cool. Again, yet another piece of the collection. It's going to come with, again, something extra. We don't know what it is in the box. Stay tuned for that. But Tony the Tigertron, Mutant Tigertron, whatever you want to call him, Pterosaur's second in command, according to the fiction. And speaking of Pterosaur, and anyone that saw my opening on Twitter for the stream, let's talk about not Starscream himself, Pterosaur, the final piece of the Golden Disc collection. And for many, the big, if you're going to pick one to buy, probably this one's going to be the one. Pterosaur is a extensive retool of the Air Razor mold, and how it pretty much gets away with it is by sacrificing the Air Razor mold's transformation of the front chest, making, the hawk head making the front chest of the robot mode. It creates a faux chest in the pterodactyl mode, and it just kind of has to sit there. I think this looks really good. I think they did a very good job in terms of retooling from the mold. We knew a while back that this was probably going to happen because there was a lot of molding cues on that original Air Razor. And then, of course, when we even looked at Skywarp from the 2-pack, the Battle Across Time 2-pack, that something was going to probably lead to this mold being Pterosaur. And I think it looks great. I really do. The fiction, as it explains on the bottom right there, is when he fell into the lava, he actually survived because of the quantum surge. In this case, he didn't become a transmetal. He became a lava-infused armor Pterosaur, which is kind of good news. And I'll say why. Because I look back at the Tigertron here, and I go, okay, the Tigertron is an alternate color scheme, and the regular color scheme will be the retail one. Perhaps, maybe what we're looking at here is an alternate color scheme, maybe a lighter kind of red without all the deco accents of the actual, I guess, show version, which had maybe darker fists and little things like that. Who knows? Maybe this is just one color scheme, and we might get we might get some kind of, I don't know, retail version at some point to give everyone an opportunity if they can't afford this one. Comes with the Golden Disc, more specifically the VOC Golden Disc. The explanation that I think I could come up with of why he comes with this one as opposed to the actual Golden Disc that's advertised across all the packaging, which makes no sense. But I think the reason why they included the VOC Golden Disc, though, is because the Arc comes with the actual Golden Disc. So it's a way to get both. If you have the Arc and now you have Pterosaur, you have both Golden Discs. So I guess that's kind of how it's going to work. Sure. It explains how he's able to take over and stuff. But either way, I think it's great. And again, including something extra and it being an extensive retool at $22.99. Great price. Great price. If you had to pick one, in my opinion, this isn't like, what I would want myself, but if you had to pick one, I think Pterosaur is the money purchase. I think it's the one that's going to be the best, that people are going to really appreciate in the long run, short of them doing a masterpiece or a retail release later on. But if there is no retail release, I don't know. I think that this is going to be a very pricey item in the future. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. It's just very interesting, the choice of Pterosaur. Either way. Next up, we have also some other big news. We got boom, 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 all this amazing stuff from Monday to Thursday. And then we were dropped two big pieces of news in relation to the future of the Transformer brand. Specifically start with Masterpiece. And it's that of the Transformers MPG subline of Masterpiece Transformers. Now, Transformers in the past, with their Masterpiece brand, have had multiple sublines. One of those sublines died almost instantly, and one of those sublines is still around today. The MPB subline, which was Masterpiece Brave, which came out in 2005, was Hasbro and Takara's attempt to make Masterpiece versions of their Brave line, which was the cousin series of Transformers during that quiet period after Generation 1 ended. And they did a MPB-01 Brave X Kaiser and MP Brave 02 Dragon Kaiser. And the X Kaiser sold pretty well. The Dragon Kaiser one died on impact, and it killed the MPB line, which is a shame because I actually love them. I have both of them. They're in my display in my Masterpiece collection, but they weren't very popular. And then they waited a good 5 years until they introduced the MPM line, the Movie Masterpiece line. And the Movie Masterpiece line is still around to this very day. So they announced today the MPG line, and their explanation is the G stands for 3G. It stands for Gatai Greato Giant, or Gatai, which is a Gatai, which means combine, Greato Giant, and giant because these combiners are big guys, and it's going to be a combiner. It's going to be a combiner kind of subline. And it means that when we're going to be getting combiners with Masterpiece, it's going to be part of this MPG subline. So this is probably going to be MPG 01. And MPG 01 is going to be Masterpiece Shuki, which is the leader of the Raiden Trainbot team. And we've been talking a lot about him over the past, it feels like almost 2 years now. When we first learned about Raiden from the Railroad in the Sky exhibit in Japan in early 2020, before 2020 became what we know of 2020 and shut down that exhibit. And now we're slowly getting to see how Shuki is going to look, his combined piece, how he's going to be on the chest of Raiden. And hopefully over, possibly, considering how long this took, the next couple of months, we're probably going to see finally how Raiden looks. What's crazy, though, is there is a company called Moon Studio, a third-party company that's also putting out their version of a Masterpiece Raiden. And I feel like they've gone into overdrive. They're trying to reveal their versions before Takara does. It's absolute madness. This reminds me of what happened with Unicron, with the Cell thing. It's nuts. So there's going to be a Masterpiece and there's going to be a third-party one side by side. I'm pretty sure there's going to be two camps that are going to be arguing over which one is better. But just to point it out there, MPG is a thing. It's going to be a big future part of the brand, potentially whatever the next combiner will be. Maybe a Devastator, maybe a Superion. Who knows? They might even take the Legacy Collection, Motormaster, and all the other limbs of the Stunticons, port that over to MPG, and call those Masterpieces. Who knows? It's not the first time Masterpieces have used retail product and called them Masterpieces over here. The very first MPM movie Masterpieces were retail Leader Class Starscream and retail Leader Class Bumblebee. So we'll see what happens. Pretty crazy stuff. Something to keep an eye out for sure. Because this is something that we're talking about today, but we're going to be talking about this for a very long time, I get a feeling, because it's a new addition and subline to the Transformer brand on the high-end standpoint for people that collect that stuff. Now then, Star Saber got backed. And on top of Star Saber getting backed, and me getting all fuzzy now because I'm talking about Star Saber, that was weird. Star Saber got backed, and they also showed us the full extent of what the third tier of their unlocks will be if you get to 20,000. And it is Holly and Fire from Transformers Victory, repaints of the Siege Micromasters Stakeout and Red Heat, aka Red Hot, his original G1 name. As well as you get a shield, which we already knew, and 2 extra smaller blast accessories for the base mode you see on the bottom left there. Pretty awesome that these guys are existing. Oh, Stinkfist69 has become a member. Welcome, Stinkfist69. What's up, Proto? You're awesome, man. I'm out with the family. Thank you, Stinkfist, and thank you for joining the YouTube membership. And have a good night with the family. So, we got a whole bunch of stuff here that's going to be for the Tier 3 20,000 backers. The 2 extra blast accessories, the 2 Micromasters, which are really just straight up repaints. Now, you know, look, I'm happy about this, but at the same time, I feel that they could have done more. Let's jump into the explanation of what these guys are. So, top left there's Holly, and there is Fire. They were 2 characters from the Transformers Victory show. Fire didn't really have a big role, but Holly, as you see there, was pretty much the Bumblebee, the wheelie of the show. He was a big deal. He was very important to the narrative. He was Jan's kind of like best buddy because he was a Micromaster that was the same height of his, in his, I guess, his same scale in a lot of ways. Oh, we got a gold super chat here from Quick Randy. We're Hasbro waiting for New York Comic Con to release the Kingdom pre-orders. It's not until next week, but I had a feeling that was the case since it's a big event. I think it could only be at the end of the year. You know, it's funny too, like after they revealed all those Golden Disc Collection stuff, all of a sudden it's like Big Bad Toy Store can now put up their pre-orders for all of those molds that we were all supposed to pretend didn't exist. So it's very interesting with that. But we'll see what happens. We'll see, because like, you know, New York Comic Con, hopefully we'll get some more stuff. And hopefully New York Comic Con is done without a sitch because of how the Big V has kind of ruined a lot of conventions. It's kind of crazy. But thanks for the super chat, Quick Randy. Thank you for the gold super chat. But getting back to Holly here. So if you look on the top right, so Stakeout was this Micromaster on the top right, came out in 1988, 1989, depending on what region you were in. When he was brought over to Japan, despite the fact that Holly had a white color scheme, bottom image there, the bottom middle, they still kept Stakeout with the black color scheme of the toy. They didn't repaint it at all for the Japanese market. And when they did Transformers Zone, which is the bottom right image there, they gave him his more toy-accurate colors of now a black color scheme. So what we're getting here pretty much from a historical standpoint, Japan or otherwise, is if you get this repaint, if you get this Holly repaint from Star Saber, it will be the first time a show-accurate Transformer Victory Holly has been done. That's why this is in a way a big deal. So let's go back to the first image there. So he'll have like the yellow on his chest, the little vents. He'll have the white body colors. So that's pretty cool at least. That at least is pretty cool. You'll finally get something that's accurate to how he looked. So yeah, that's awesome. Where if you want a Transformer Zone accurate Holly, you could just get Siege Stakeout, who by the way, and I mentioned this on my Twitter, is going for $4.99 on the Hasbro Toy Shop. So if you want to get them ridiculously cheap, you can get this pair right now on Hasbro Toy Shop on eBay. Stinkfist69 with the super chat here. That was my 9-month membership message, but just wanted to show you, man. At the restaurant, gotta go, keep it thick. Thank you, Stinkfist69. Thank you for all the love and support, brother. And I hope you enjoy your meal. I know I enjoyed mine. Toilet's going to enjoy it too later, let me tell you. Woo. Anyways, But getting back to this, I mean, when you look at the images, I mean, you know, heat, red hot, red heat, whatever you want to call them, and fire. The differences between the two is very, you know, minor at best. One is more zone accurate, aka original toy accurate. One is more show accurate. But the differences between the two is not a big deal. It really is all about Holly at the end of the day, who was a big character in the show. So, I mean, that's a little bit of history on what is this guy and what you're getting with them. Of course, you're also getting, like I said, the shield and 2 extra blast accessories for the base mode. Now, there was a discussion of people going like what they would have liked to see instead. People were saying like they would have liked to see Clipper, which is Holly's girlfriend. That was a female character. That was a retool of originally known Hyperdrive, who was a Micromaster. They could have taken the Hyperdrive from Siege and given it Clipper's colors on it. There was a lot of ideas, and then people were saying you could have done Clipper and, you know, include a little molded John figure that doesn't transform, maybe just a single piece, much like the MPB X Kaiser came with a little figure too of the human character. Would have been cool. Get a little Jan figure, have something to be on Star Saber's shoulder, you know, father and son in a lot of ways. I would have dug it. I mean, I would have just loved if Clipper got a figure, because she really hasn't gotten anything officially outside of a technically Gig Ham figure, which wasn't really, you know, her. So closest we probably have to Clipper. But that's another thing this was the pairing that a lot of people were talking about online that they would have loved to see. But hey, you know, we're finally getting show accurate Holly. So it's something, I guess. It's something. Some people have been criticizing that it's just 2 straight up repaints of pre-existing Siege toys that we've already gotten so many times. So whatever. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens in the near future. But at the end of the day, let's talk about numbers now. So 8 days left, 5 hours, and 24 minutes. Obviously, it's probably a lot less than that since I took this image. We are at 12,661 backers, probably more now. I took this image about an hour ago. And we're past the mark. But we still need another 2,000 to get that V-Lock cannon and the blast accessories for the shoulder cannons. We still have a lot to go before we even get close to getting that stand. And to get 2 little Siege repaints, 2 little green base blast accessories and a shield, man, we're going to need some kind of miracle or Hasbro fudging the numbers, one or the other. I've had people arguing with me saying it's going to happen naturally. They're going to put the international orders and it's going to do amazing. Look, I hope you're right. I really do. I wouldn't want them to be messing with the numbers. I'd like this to be organically real and for it to actually happen. But I mean, wow, we got 8 days left and there's a long way to go. I mean, they literally got to make up 80. They have to do another 80% of what they've already achieved pretty much all over again in order to hit that 20,000. And a lot of people are on the fence on that, you know, and it's crazy considering that all of this is going to garner easily over, like, when it's said and done, like over $3 million, if not more, for Hasbro to get all this to happen. I've said it once and I said it again, it should have been a retail product. You know, I understand, yeah, okay, it wouldn't have had the Siege characters, the 2 little Micromasters, or, you know, the blast accessories would have been already included because Siege characters come with a ton of blast accessories. So it's I don't know. Look, let's go to the next slide and I'll tell you something. Like, I love how this thing looks. I think it looks amazing. I really do. I think the colors look amazing. I think the proportions look really cool. I love what I see. If this would have been a retail product at its retail expectations, I would have been all over this like a dog on dog food. I would, you know, like I would have been nuts. But I just feel that the $179.99 just isn't there. And I feel that if they hit the 20,000, they include the 2 Micromasters, which, what is the MSRP on Micromasters? What, $9.99? was it, back in, what was it, 2017 when Siege came out. So, add an extra $10. I do not count the shield and the blast effects as adding to the value. That's something that would have been standard with a commander class to begin with. It's a commander class and a Voyager together. It's not $179.99. But it is what it is. They're adding a little extra stuff to kind of, I guess, appease the fans. You know what? If they hit the 20,000 and then there's an extra addition to this, maybe the other two members of the rescue patrol or something, give me Boater, give me Peepo, the little the little ambulance in the boat. That would be, I'd dig that. I think that would then maybe make me go, okay, I think you've redeemed yourself in a way. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Michael Koo says $9.99 to $12.99 US. Oh, well, there you go. So it's like, you could tack that on to the value, Commander class Voyager and a Micromaster price point. And then we're kind of closing the door. We're kind of closing the gap a little bit, but they're still shipping and everything. I want to talk about another thing too, and it was something that people were asking me. Do they think they should buy two of them, one to keep and then one to resell to kind of offset the cost? Yes and no. And the reason why I say that is because they look at what happened with Unicron. And Unicron went up like 400% in value, easily. Anyone who bought an extra Unicron made 3 to 4 times their money's worth afterwards. But Unicron was a very unique scenario. Number one, Unicron was almost $600. This thing is $200, when it's all said and done. So considerably less money, number one. A lot of people couldn't afford Unicron. A lot of people can afford Star Saber. Number two, when Unicron came out, he came out at a time, like when that news dropped, he came out right, literally the day after TFCon Toronto. A lot of hardcore fans invested, went to TFCon Toronto. They got the hotel room, they got the admission, they bought the exclusives, they paid for their flights, food for the weekend, dealer room money. They blew all their money on their that weekend. And then they show up at home Monday morning and boom, this is dropped. How are they going to now drop $600 and then some for a Unicron, let alone two of them? So a lot of people who are the hardcore fans who go to conventions and drop big money on big items, they kind of got hit by this too, and they either said, I can't afford it, I'm going to avoid it, or there was a lot of all kinds of drama with it too. People wanted to hate this thing. It's ugly. It has stuff hanging off of its back. It has kibble. Look how it folds. Then, of course, the third-party Cell came out, and then that created these two tribal fighting going on. This one's better than this one. This one is cheaper. There was so much going on. They didn't paint the maw. This and that. And there was so much stuff that it created people who were falling into that narrative, not buying it, not having money, all this stuff that by the time the door closed on Unicron, there was a lot of people that started to suffer from major FOMO, fear of missing out. And that's why Unicron's numbers went up. Not to mention he's a $600 item, a big washing machine-sized box that he comes in. It was a disaster. It was a disaster. Still to this day, I feel there's so much more of a story behind the scenes that we're being led on. And I want to see one day a Hasbro guy who could talk about this on an NDA-separated way, honestly, on what really happened. But now we're talking Star Saber. There is no drama. It's just a little overpriced. It looks really good. It looks really good. It's a little overpriced, but there is no drama. It's backed. It didn't need an extension like Unicron did. Unicron needed an extension to get backed. And people who want it are probably going to get it because they could afford it, because it's not $600 like Unicron. It's barely $200. And the people who could afford it are going to buy it. The people who can't afford it are probably not going to also slot into those people that are going to be bidding for it later on. Is it going to go up in value? Yes, it will. All Transformers in general, not all, but like most high-end Transformers in general, do go up in value as time progresses. If you have the space and you're willing to sit on a Star Saber for like, let's say 4 years before a trademark rollover and some new product comes to wave in people's faces, then yes, get an extra Star Saber, sit on it for 3 years, and then throw it on eBay. But if you don't have the space or the money, don't expect to buy a Star Saber and then flip it a month later. I don't think it's going to be the same thing like Unicron. I want to be wrong. I want to believe that the demand is so crazy. But at the same time, I think anyone that's going to want one a month after it came out had have already gotten it through this means. Unless there's someone who bought one and then they went, oh my God, I want to have it in Victory mode, Victory Saber mode, and Victory Leo mode separately, so I need an extra one or something. So, I don't know. We got a super chat from Lord Megatron. He says, hey Proto, hope you are doing well. I'm doing very well. It's been a crazy week. But thank you for the super chat, Lord Megatron. But it's just, it's something that, I was asked this question by multiple people because they're trying to offset the cost because they don't have a lot of money, so they think that this could be a good investment. They double up, and then they can make the money back, so they don't have anything that hurts their wallet. Could be a risk, and by that I mean you will make your money, but it's not going to be the first month. It's going to take time. You're going to have to sit on it for a bit. There's certain investment items that you got to kind of buy them and sit on them for a while. Like, I mean, I can't reach it now, but like, there's a few masterpieces that have just came out that tomorrow they're not going to be worth money. A month from now, they're not going to be worth money. Heck, 6 months from now, they're probably going to go on clearance on Hobby Link Japan and Ami Ami. But we're talking maybe 2 years from now, 3 years from now, where that character doesn't get a new masterpiece release, doesn't get a reissue. That'll be the version of that character. It's going to go up. Look what happened with Optimus Primal before that reissue happened. Optimus Primal's original MSRP was $110, $120, ended up hitting $200 to $300 in the secondary market, his masterpiece. Thank God for the reissue that came out. That's going to offset those numbers. But pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Michael Koo says, for your information, MP24 Star Saber's pricing is $299. Yeah, they put it up. Because let me tell you something, Star Saber was not $299 before. They just know that now the demand has actually started to kick up since this version has been revealed. But again, it's something to keep in mind. We got a super chat from Detective Ferret. Proto started watching, I think he means watching. I started watching Beast Wars. I was wondering, what is the best figure of the season 1 cast? Best figure in terms of engineering. I mean, the Inferno is really cool, but now he suffers from clear plastic syndrome and he's kind of fragile. Cheetor is just a go-to, and as a result, Tigertron in the process. Those are two great ones. The Optimus Primal is a fantastic mold. Rat Trap, he's okay. He's a flip changer. Pterosaur, he's okay, I guess. Everyone loses that gun that's stored in the back of his neck. I'd have to go with Cheetor and Primal and Inferno, but don't pick up Inferno because he's going to break. Wait for that that Legacy version of Inferno. I bet it's going to be the best Inferno ever and completely destroy the vintage Inferno market. Much like a vintage Rhinox toy is worth nothing today. But I'd have to go with Cheetor and Primal. Two really good toys. Really, really good toys. That whole 95, 96, like season 1 batch of toys, there's a lot of really good non-show characters in there too. There's a lot of really good molds in there. Polar Claw being one of them. I think Polar Claw is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Media Max says, how much do oil prices affect the cost of our toys of plastic? Well, Hasbro, what they've been doing recently is they've just been modulating that. It's like when oil prices go up, they just put less plastic in our toys. They don't increase the price of the toys. They just go, oh, oil prices are up, hollow out the toys, use less plastic, use less joints, make the toys slightly more simpler. Or what's happening now, get rid of the bubbles on the front of Plastics are now, we're going to see they're going to go up to here. The leader classes are going to be completely covered now. So they try to maneuver in other ways to reduce plastic costs instead of having to increase the price of instead of increasing the price of the plastic itself. But then they just increase the price of the product instead. And it falls on us, unfortunately. But that's how it is. That's how it is. Michael Koo says, for the original Beast Wars toys, Optimus Primal for his action feature. Yeah, and he beats his chest, too. Beast Wars Megatron for his water squirting gimmick. That's really cool. There's David K signed someone's instruction book where in this part where you're filling up the water, he wrote on it, yes, like when you're filling the water for it. Weird stuff I remember from TFCon. I don't know why. David K has been to TFCon more than any other convention, so I'm so used to seeing him that I have so many memories with him. Elves Bleed 57 says, speaking of Beast Wars, I was able to find the vintage guys recently at my Walmart. Cheetor and Primal are awesome. I was mildly disappointed with Megatron. Well, he has different paint scheme on him, too, that Megatron. The Megatron is not 100% true to the original vintage toy. There's slightly little different paint apps on him. Some actually less paint in a lot of ways. Where the Primal has a different paint app, but it's not true egregious. And Cheetor's not too bad. Cheetor gets away with what he was before. And Cheetor was a fantastic mold always. So, you know, a super in-demand toy back in the day. Man, that blue eye and red eye Cheetor back in 95 and 96, he was the hot ticket item. He really was. One of the first times they had to reissue a figure within the line because of demand when they made the green eye Cheetor in 97 because he was that in demand and popular. There actually is on YouTube, you could find it, an old news segment about a kid trying to track down Cheetor because of how tough it was to get. I have to find that. I'll link it in my Twitter if I could find it. It's a very interesting news segment. The kid looking for Cheetor. But yeah, anyways, you know, look, when it comes to Star Saber, as I was saying before, if you want it, get it. If you don't want it, don't get it. If you're on the fence, wait till the next couple of days and see how Hasbro messes with the numbers. It's going to be interesting to see what goes down in the next couple of days because it's going to be go time. It's going to be this week and then next and then that's it. So actually, is it going to end? I think we're not even going to have a stream when it ends. We're going to have to do it another time. Let's see. Tom Laney says, don't forget Rock Bubble versus Smooth Bubble. Oh, yeah, of course. Well, that was the 95 variants. People don't really obsess too much. You know, Mint on Card Beast Wars, there's not really a market for that. And now that the reissues have come out, I think that market also has kind of, you know, swung down a little bit. But there was a point where people were trying to, like, you know, get that stuff. It's not there yet. I feel like Beast Wars, maybe when Beast Wars is like 30, 40 years old, people will start obsessing over carded Beast Wars stuff from a speculative standpoint. You know, oh, I have a original Rocky card blue-eyed Cheetor. You know, like, that's big money, you know, and graded, you know, CCG, or no, it's going to be AFA graded, you know, 9.8. Well, and I have oh, you can barely see it. Barely over there. There's a carded one. There's a carded green eye Cheetor I have from Zellers back in the day. I bought it and never opened it. I don't know why. Ironically, I guess. And then you can see we got our plushes in the back, which I might as well make the segue to it. Might as well talk about the sponsor, Symbiote Studios, who's our plush guys. There's our Megatron today, and Megatron is our pins today too. Nice metal pins that we have from Symbiote Studios. Again, they support us. They are a sponsor along with Hasbro with our plush, our pins, and our t-shirts with Soundwave. There's going to be more shirts in the future, guys, so be sure to check that out, symbiotestudios.com, and, of course, all their other Hasbro stuff that's going to be coming, specifically of a Power Ranger nature, and, of course, their San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that hopefully you guys will be able to get your hands on. Their Unicron, which showed up recently at a certain movie theater for a 35th anniversary screening of the 1986 movie. Look how big he is, rocking it in the movie theater. Awesome guy. So again, symbiotestudios.com. Be sure to check them out. They are our sponsor. They're awesome dudes. They do great stuff. And we're going to have more stuff from them in the future to show you guys off. So a lot of cool stuff coming. Wave 4 is in the near future of their Transformer ongoing plush line. And also, I guess I just want to mention this too, for people that haven't listened to it already. Episode 2 of the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer that I did with Aaron Archer is out. If you have 2 hours of time and you want to hear about 90s Batman toys, because that's the topic this time around, the Toy Armada is covering 90s and early 2000s Kenner and Hasbro product. So we're going to be also covering Transformers, Jurassic Park, the Kenner Aliens line. We already covered Star Wars. We're going to cover so much different Batman lines. This one today is this one that you'll be listening to if you go to check it out is just movie Batman stuff. But we're going to do tons of other Batman stuff later. Animated series, Batman Beyond, Night Force Ninjas, Total Justice, all of that craziness. Very good listen. It's all the behind the scenes at Hasbro and how toys are made. Really cool stuff with Aaron Archer, the king of the Transformer world back in the day. So be sure to check that out. Toy Armada on YouTube. So that's it more or less for the news and everything else about that. Didn't get anything this week. I just kind of pulled out the old BotCon Pterosaur because this guy was like the last Pterosaur figure we got for a long while. This was 2016. I worked on this box set, and we didn't get a Pterosaur figure since. And when I was thinking about it, I was like, man, after that one, we didn't have a Pterosaur figure like for a while. Like a while. There just like wasn't anything for a while. So it's nice to see we're getting a new Pterosaur figure. Pretty hype. Pretty hype stuff. And aside from, I didn't get anything. I didn't buy anything this week. It was a pretty light week. I think it was just go to work. The news would drop. The news would keep me busy all day. And that was that. So we'll see. Let's see. Ben Williams, why were there two different intros, UK and USA, for Transformers the 86 movie? I prefer the Star Wars version. Which is your favorite? Well, you know what? The thing is that I think that the UK version, I know that there's obviously guys in the UK that have a nostalgia for it, but I'm not really a fan of it because while it's good for like, you know, bringing people up to speed on what's going on and has that Star Wars scroll, like, you know, what's really happening. But at the same time, like, I don't know, I find that it just kind of really blatantly just rips off Star Wars, and already the 86 movie has enough Star Wars flavored kind of stuff to it that to take that out would be kind of better. Kind of makes the movie more its own identity, I guess is the best way to put it, you know, in a lot of ways. Let's jump into some super chats. Paul McDonald says, I've been reading IDW's Shattered Glass. The colors are an eye-opener. My faves so far is Starscream, Thundercracker, and Blaster. Do you have any faves? So I read issues 1 and 2 thus far. Amazing work, by the way, by the crew of IDW. Let's just say there's a certain Toxin color scheme in the background for, which is a character I worked on back in the day for TFCon with Chrome Dome. And then you might see some ultra primal colors with a certain 6-shot. So those are two favorites of mine, mostly because they're based off of two fan color schemes. But definitely check those out if you didn't miss them. If you did miss them, excuse me. Really good books thus far. I like the way that they're doing a slow burn with the story. Really trying to flesh out the characters first. It's also very clear how each book is also very much patterned on the fact that they come with a figure. So the first book was very Blur because it also came with the Blur figure. The second book is very, you know, Starscream because it comes with the Starscream figure. The third book is probably going to dive very much into Megatron. Then we're going to learn about, I don't want to spoil too much, but the other warlords like a Goldbug and stuff like that. And then, of course, something's going to happen with that Jetfire for sure. But it's I like it a lot. Really good book. If you have a chance, guys, to go out of your way to go to your local comic book store and pick them up. Really good reads, really good reads. Cool variant covers too. Some of the variant covers are really good. Casey Collar did amazing covers for those for the Hasbro Pulse versions. Cool homages. We got a gold super chat, an awesome gold super chat from this boyo. Thank you for the gold super chat, this boyo. If Polygon Pictures and Hasbro decided to do a legacy show doing the prime character, doing the prime character will literally cost them nothing, considering that the War for Cybertron Netflix show, they could literally see a lot of reused assets. I'm 19 and I'm a prime kid. Well, it's good to know the different demographics and markets. If you're referring to doing the prime character, I think that if Polygon Pictures would do a series, they'd probably just make their own assets from scratch. Primarily because the sad truth is the War for Cybertron Netflix assets, they didn't transform properly. They're not really good assets. The truth of the matter is, like, I don't want to rain on people's parade that like the War for Cybertron stuff, but those character models are not rigged very well. So if Polygon Pictures was going to do their own thing, they're going to do something from the ground up. And they'll probably, like, you know, consult Hasbro and go, hey, like, you know, let's talk to, you know, ILM and the guys that worked on the movie stuff or something, and kind of bring them in and, you know, use their CG mock-up stuff and do the cool things that they're doing. And it would, you know, when you're talking movie budgets and stuff like that, let alone a movie budget that's used for a TV show, which is kind of what Transformers Prime was. Transformers Prime had a huge budget that was just burned through with these Hollywood dollars. And that explains why Transformers Prime looked as good as it did. The only weakness with Transformers Prime was the voice actor budget and the pretty much building new assets for the background. Like, the whole show was pretty much based in this, like, little square corner of a town. You know, looking at Jack's, like, you know, fast food joint and the school, and then it's like, I feel like if you zoomed out the model, you would just see his school, this corner block where, like, you see the street race would happen with RC, you know. Either way. But yeah, thanks for the super chat, man. And again, look, if you're 19, that means when Transformers Prime was on the airwaves, you were probably like 10 years old at the time. So, like I said, that was your G1. So everyone has different backgrounds and different stuff they grew up with, and that's pretty cool to hear those stories. Because, I mean, it's the same thing. You know, Aaron Archer meets kids that were 5 when Armada came out, and, you know, and now they're in their late 20s. So there's a reason why I'm going bald, because the time passes way too quickly, and I was a G1 guy, so it happens. But thanks for the gold super chat, brother, and thanks for the love and support. The Podski with a gold super chat. He wants to know what's up with Kingdom Wave 4. Surprise Pulse didn't put up orders. Did third-party sellers leak it? Well, Kingdom pre-orders for Wave 4, all we got right now is on Big Bad Toy Store. Big Bad Toy Store has a really good relationship with Hasbro, like a really good relationship. So I think that probably there was some kind of agreement to put up the pre-orders there, and maybe they got the exclusive advantage. I don't know. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff I can't answer there, really, in a lot of ways. You know, like, oh man, it's been revealed to everyone, Waspinator, Shadow Panther, Tigertron, everything. Oh, BBTS, you could look, there's no reason doing a Transformer Tuesday to reveal these. No one's going to be excited. You know, the cat is out of the bag. You know, can't put the genie back in the bottle, or, you know, put the ketchup back in the bottle, or whatever the term is, you know. But it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I think BBTS revealing it is kind of the closest we have to an official, like, blessing by Hasbro. Here we go. And I think that's also circumvented by the fact that the Amazon stuff was put out there, which revealed Tigertron. So that kind of, at least the mold, so that kind of puts it all out there. I mean, look, the images that BBTS was using was official stock photo images. So clearly those were handed to them by Hasbro. You know, they don't just have those images. Hasbro provides those images. So, and they wouldn't want to burn that relationship by revealing images early without their permission. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Princeton Phalax 59 with the super chat. Hey Proto, if the rumors are true about getting new combiners, do you think that we will be do you think they will then the Combiner Wars ones not looking like crap? Well, it depends on what you define as not looking like crap. Like the rumor is that the Menosaur, which is going to be a commander class, is going to look more show accurate. You know, that Fleero Deary design kind of combined mode. Where if you look at the Combiner Wars one, it doesn't look like the show model from the 1984, 85, 86 cartoon. So if your definition of doesn't look crap is more show accurate, maybe that's the direction they're going to go, especially if it's Masterpiece. Masterpiece's goal has been screen accuracy. So if they're going to be doing combiners, they're going to look screen accurate. Where Combiner Wars, because it's Generations isn't obligated to look like how it looks on the screen. Generations is allowed to kind of have different interpretations, combined with the fact that most G1 Transformers are based on real cars. So when you do Generations, which is retail product, you kind of have to do these alt modes that don't look like a Ferrari, that don't look like a Lamborghini, that don't look 100% like a Datsun or a Porsche or an RX-7 or whatever. You know, you could get away with a generic, ambulance or something. But so it really has to do with what your definition of crap is. It's your definition of what you want. I mean, some stuff could be different but still fun. You know, it could still be fun. It could still be good. But that's a whole other story. You know, that's a whole other discussion. That's something that's really a matter of opinion in a lot of ways for a lot of people. I mean, I really liked the Defensor that they did. The Combiner Wars Defensor, more specifically even the United Warrior version. But at the same time, a lot of people didn't like it. So, what I like doesn't mean necessarily someone else will like. So it makes it really different. Oh, Aaron Archer's here. He just showed up. Oh, Aaron's here. And I love them all, says Aaron. Good to hear it, Aaron. Good to hear it, Aaron. Nice to have you here today. Downright Superb says, Proto, what percent of mainline purchases are made just to be remolded? Could you guess a number? Well, you know what? I think that most mainline stuff, when it's designed with the intent of a repaint/retool in its future. That's started to really become a thing. I would want to say, man, maybe like early 2001 with Armada, where like, man, what mold there didn't get repainted, including the mini cons. And then the same thing with Energon and Cybertron. And then when we started getting into like, let's say Universe 2.0, that first wave, you started getting like, here's a mold and then here's a brand new head sculpt with a new mold and a repaint. It's a way to get back the R&D. It's the way to get back the time and effort put into designing these toys. They like, would you ever thought that like a aerial bot mold that was made, I think at the time when this came out was probably 3 years ago. Not this one. I'm saying the actual air raid mold. When they made that mold, they would have thought like, oh, we're doing this, and then 3 years from now you're going to get a Cybertronian Pterosaur out of it. It's always in the works, but there's always stuff that they don't think of that pops up later on, like that Pterosaur and many others that clearly I'm forgetting right now. If I had to put a number, impossible. Too many. Look behind you. Could you put a number to it? Too many. Let's see. Media Max Proto. Transformers drink Energon and eat Energon goodies. Is ingesting Energon through the mouth the main way to get substance? Do they have Energon poops? Well, I would imagine that if Energon is anything like fuel, it's consumed, whether it be, like if anyone who has an IV to get nutrients from the hospital, how nutrients get into you, whether it be this way, or this way, I imagine it's like a car that gets gasoline. And what happens with gasoline, it's consumed, goes through the body, and then it goes out like Rhinox did in the low road. I don't think they have energon poops, though, but they probably have gas emissions. It's been proven. Cheetor farted, and so did Rhinox. And Cheetor farted in, I believe it was the episode Protoform X. And the reason why he farted was because he was soaking up too much energon, so he had to release the energon. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Beast Wars, for learning more about Transformers biology, but maybe that's the animal part of it. Yeah, where are we at here? Oh, we got another gold super chat from this boyo. Gold super chat. Sorry if I'm running behind on super chats. There's a lot that are being pushed up here. Gold super chat from this boyo. I worded that wrong. I meant that the War for Cybertron can see reused assets for Transformers Prime, which means Polygon could probably still have the molds of the Prime character somewhere, probably. But again, I feel that you have to understand how like that business works. They're gonna want to like people are gonna want to get hired to get paid to do something, and that's why like a lot of times I see so many people always go like, like, why didn't this Marvel movie, just use the script from the comic and just adapt it to that? Like Day of the Future Past X-Men. Why was it not the same like the comic book? Age of Apocalypse. Why was it not like the comic book? Infinity War. Why was it not like Infinity Gauntlet? Because there's a screenwriter that wants to get paid for actually doing a job instead of just, oh, hey, I'm going to just adapt Jim Starlin's story into the Infinity Gauntlet. And it's the same thing here. They don't want to just hire a guy who's just going to take assets and move it to a new location and stuff like that. There's guys that are going to want to get paid to make brand new assets and get paid the big money to do that. And that's just how Hollywood works. There's dudes that want to get that money. They want that money for that job. So while it would be easier, I guess the best example of that, but it's still internal. Like the only time I could really think of reused assets was within Mainframe. Mainframe would sometimes take assets from one show and put it into another show. If you watch, I believe it was War Planets, aka Shadow Raiders, there was Beast Wars assets that were used for statues or background characters. And then, of course, I mean, the most obvious is in Beast Machines, they use the Season 1 assets for Season 1 of Beast Machines and stuff like that. But even then, that's within a studio. When you're talking other studios, they would not bother with that. They're gonna do stuff from the ground up. They're gonna do stuff from the ground up every single time because people want to get that cheddar. They want to get paid. They don't want to just get paid that small money for copy and pasting something. They want to do something from the ground up and put their own little stamp on it more than anything else. But thank you again for the super chat and for clearing that up. This boyo. Aaron is here. Aaron is here. That's all. Everyone's going, Aaron is here. Yeah. Michael Koo says, what will the design focus of the upcoming Legacy line be? Will it be tons of repaints and retools or new cartoon actor? Well, I mean, judging by what we've seen thus far, it looks like Legacy is going to be a lot of Generation 1, Transformers Prime, and Beast Wars, a little bit of a balance of the three, thus Legacy, celebrating Transformers as different brands. And then all of the exclusive stuff on the side is going to be all the crazy repaints and retools. That Challenge of Velocitron line, all the Walmart stuff we saw, the Generation Select stuff, like all the stuff that I talked about last week pretty much. Looks like there's going to be a lot of, like, they're going to make use of those molds, like there's going to be a Laser Rod or Laser Optimus Prime, and then we saw that there's going to be an exclusive that's going to be Scourge, so it doesn't surprise me how that's going to be. Downright Superb says, Protoman, have any Transformer stories ever involving magic, mysticism, or brand ever exclusively sci-fi based? Well, you could go right away to the episode Generation 1's Starscream in King Arthur's Court. A Decepticon in King Arthur's Court, where you had Merlin. So that's the first example of magic. And then Merlin shows up again in not Age of Extinction, in The Last Night. So there's magic right there in Transformers. I mean, the Matrix of Leadership is always mystical kind of stuff, too, when you really think about it. With all the ghosts of Cybertron and the original 13 and everything. But to quote Thor, the difference between magic and technology is all just a state of mind and what you know. So what is magic to us could just be technology for them. Princeton Phalix is now 2-month member. What are your thoughts on Fan Toys' Hannibal? Which one is that? Which one is Hannibal? You could just type it again, brother. I'll see it. I don't know which one's Hannibal. I never know the third party names. It's always the not, like the what do you, like you could just say, what are your thoughts on Fan Toys' not masterpiece so and so, and then I'll know exactly what you're talking about. Like I just talked about the two Raiden third party pieces. I have no idea what the names are. I know what the not names are, but if you know what I mean. Proto Trevor has a super chat before me. Did I miss one? Did I miss a super chat? Sorry, everything gets pushed up sometimes. Trevor has a super chat before me. Did I miss one? Seriously? I don't think I saw it. I must have missed something. I must have missed something. Where's that super chat? Oh, Trevor did have a super chat. Jeez, I'm so sorry, Trevor. How did I miss that? Everything got pushed up. Thank you, Michael. You think Hasbro will revisit fossilize their concept in the future? Just got my 5th. Oh my God, everyone's building crazy stuff. Tyrannicus, he's fabulous, Proto. You rock. Keep it real. Thanks. Hey man, keep it real, and thanks for forgiving me for missing your super chat. You know what? I look at it this way. They did look with Siege. They did those battle, not the battle masters, the weaponizers. You know, come apart, go back together, attach. Then they did the modulators with the Micromaster bases. Come back apart, put back together. It was popular too. Then they did the fossilizers. What's going to happen is they're going to probably look at the sales if they don't already have those numbers from Earthrise, and then what's going to be in the afterbirth of Kingdom. And if that stuff shelf warms or doesn't do well, then we probably might not see more of it. Not to mention from a narrative standpoint, would you want to see fossilizers in something that isn't prehistoric Earth? Would it make sense to have more figures that come apart and go back together if they're not, say, like a Waspinator? You know what I mean? Like, it has to be something that narrative makes sense. Or like, I guess, a little bit, Studio Series 86 Cup, maybe. But I do not know. That's a tough one because it's something that I feel they'll do it more if it makes sense for the play pattern or for the character. Otherwise, would you want to waste a space on brand new characters in a legacy line? Like if someone said to you, we're going to make 4 deluxes of brand new characters that come apart and put back together, or you'll give you 4 characters that desperately need updates. I'm pretty sure I know what most people would want, you know? And I mean, the good thing, at least with the fossilizers, there's so many different color waves at this point. You know, you have like the purple one also with the Megatron box set. And supposedly, the rumor is that the Energon monster might also be a repaint of the fossilizer, but that could be wrong. That's from Legacy. Might be a yellow repaint, but no confirmation on that. It's just a rumor. But we'll see. We will see. It's as it stands right now, from what I've seen from the leaked listings, it doesn't look like it. But you never know. We might get another transmutate kind of situation where that'll be a fossilizer or something, you know? There'll be something like that. Ben Williams, were you not considered to have been on the Toys That Made Us episode for the TF? Toys That Made Us is recorded in the West Coast, and they needed West Coast people so they could fly out to West Coast convention locations. When I was on Storage Wars, it's because they were in the area. They knew they were going to be in the area. They contacted me. When I was on Geek Me, they were going to be in the East Coast, Montreal area. Guess what? A lot of times with these kind of shows, it also has to do with proximity. Obviously, Aaron Archer was on it despite being all the way in Canton, Ohio. But he was someone important to Transformers. They had to have him on it. Same thing with Yoke-san and all the others too. So that's a whole other story. But like in terms of the fans that were featured, they weren't going to be flying me out for that. I'm not that important. Not in the big scheme of things for something like that. No siree. Unless they wanted to put me on a blue screen or something and have the same background and have like one line. So Transformers came out in 1984. And then that'll be my one thing. Tom Laney says, so I got the Worlds Collide 4-pack, love the package, but also want to play with toys. How do you decide on what to take out and what to leave in? I open up everything, brother. I let them breathe. You know, I open like this is an empty box, you know. The only time ever something stays in the box is if it's like I buy 2 of it. And if I'm buying 2 of it, there's a very specific reason because of how nice it looks in the box, or if it's like I usually with Rodimus figures, I try to get 2 of everything. That's about it, really. It's very rare that look, the Masterpiece Beast Wars, I bought 2 of those. I didn't leave them in the package. I wanted to have them in both modes. So it's very rare that I leave stuff in the package unless it's like a collectible standpoint. Like, I think you can't see it, but like, again, I have a Cheetor that's mint on card back there, but that's because I have so many Cheetors. I got a carded one, so I kept it. I got Laser Rod Electro, which is the gold plastic Nightmare, so I have him mint on card because he's gold plastic and I don't want to take him out of the package. Same thing with Beast Wars Randy, gold plastic. I have a mint in box one that I never opened, but there's reasons for those ones. Those are because they're fragile. But otherwise, I open everything. Got to enjoy them, man. You got to enjoy. Transformer toys are very. I wish I had non-Transformer toys mint on card near me, but to just explain, like, you know, when you. Oh wait, hold on. I got something here. My recent. This is a little bit older. This is Marvel Legends Storm, right? If you never open this thing, you're not missing much. It looks the same like this out of the package, like it does like this in the package, outside of posing. But if you don't open up this guy right here, you only get half the story. And that's the difference with carded Transformer product. You don't get to enjoy the whole story of the item. You kind of just hold it there and you only can imagine what the other side is, especially if they don't have the transformation on the back. So it's a very different kind of toy. And as a result, mint on card collecting is not as popular or speculated with Transformers because of how tactile it is as a hobby, as opposed to every other, like if you have a mint on card, you know, Star Wars collection, you know, what are you missing? You know, like you don't need much imagination to figure out how that's going to be when you open it up, you know, especially with like the 90s Star Wars stuff. Power of the Force. So that's my long, short answer to that. Media Max, Proto, are there any specific characters you refuse to buy in the future because you have too many or already identical versions? A lot of times there's a lot of toys I don't buy because I don't feel I need for them. Specifically, a lot of those Beast Wars reissues. Why would I buy Rat Trap at a higher MSRP when I own the original and it's pretty much the same toy, minus a few paint applications? The only time I really skip figures is when I really feel they serve no purpose whatsoever in my collection. Like I'll even buy weird, like, you know, like stuff like this, right? So this is the Rescue Bots, Bumblebee. Original MSRP was, I think, like $29.99. When I find him in the wild for like $3, I'll buy him. So, and it's the same thing. If at some point I find that reissue Rat Trap mint on card and someone wants to sell it to me for $3, then I'll buy it. And then I'll hang him up on the wall of carded stuff, you know? Like, that's what I'll do or something. But at the end of the day, you know, it's something that I usually try to get everything I can, but there's a lot of stuff I skip because money is not unlimited, and if you buy everything, you're just going to go broke. You really will. In terms of what I refuse to get, anything that's just stupid. You know what I mean? There's a few things like I said, that Rat Trap, and I'm not hating on the toy itself. I love the original toy, but what's the point of buying the reissue? You know, like there's to pay, what is it, $22 for a figure that probably still in the secondary market is $20 complete. You know, just my take on that. Let's keep on going. We got another, let's see, Michael Koo has a super chat. Right, but the way they... Oh, okay, here, Tom Laney's follow-up. Right, but the way they look in the packaging, not really from a selling perspective. Well, then that's like the Decepticon... not Decepticon. The Transformers Generation Selects Pit of Judgment. Looks absolutely fantastic in the box. As a result, I don't want to take it out of the box. I have another good example of that. I have some old movie figures. The battle scenes movie figures. What are they called? They were called battle scenes or something like that. I know I have them somewhere. I don't want to get up, but the battle scenes movie figures from 2007, they look so much better in the packaging. They're almost not intended to be taken out of the packaging. I have those sealed up there, but part of the reason also why I didn't open them was because 90% of those battle scenes have toys in them that I already have loose also from other versions. So it kind of makes it easier not opening it because I've already experienced those toys. You know, like whether it be a tow line or the Bumblebee or the barricade mold or something. So, Michael Koo, why has TFCon Toronto 2021 happening in December? It's a horrible time of year to drive in Canada. You want to know? It's because the Big V. That's the best answer. It's just TFCon really wants to happen, even if it really shouldn't. That's my take. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. I wouldn't have done it in December, but it's not my call. It's not my call. My words on if that should happen or not fall on deaf ears. Let's put it that way. Proto is the reason that poor kid couldn't find... is that the reason that poor kid couldn't find a Cheetor? Poor kid couldn't find a Cheetor in that news segment was because Blue Eye Cheetor had a really limited run and those Rocky Bubbles, and then they did the Red Eye Cheetor that also had a limited run. I believe it was 1 per case or something. So Red Eye Cheetors were pretty difficult to get too. And then finally in the end they did the Green Eye release. But the happy story with that kid is if you watch the news segment, he does end up finding a Red Eye Cheetor. They hire some guys who are toy hunters, and this is like back in 1996. It's a very interesting segment. If you could find it online, I'll try to find it. I'll post it on Twitter because I know people will dig it. It's a real capsule of toy collecting in 1996, especially since it involves Transformers and Beast Wars. It makes it even more interesting. Downright superb Proto. Are our toys made from slave labor? Well, that's your definition. You're talking an entire country that has a completely different definition on what is a minimum wage over there. You know, is your clothing made with slave labor? Is your shoes made with slave labor? Practically everything on my body here is made from that other side of the ocean. You know, actually, I think the Symbiote Studio stuff's made in Korea though, but I mean this is probably India, I would imagine. My sweater from Giant Tiger. I love this sweater. It's comfy. But, you know, everything is usually made on the cheap somewhere else. So it really is your definition of what is slave labor. Slave labor, in my opinion, is someone's not getting paid and is being treated very poorly. I know people who live in China who work the electronics factory circuit, if you will. And while they don't get paid very well by our standards, it's sadly how the culture is over there and how it is. It's a tough topic to talk about because I'm not an expert on it, and I haven't lived there and lived their lives and interviewed those people. I'm sure they would love to get paid more. But I think everyone who in every job they've ever been in would love to get paid more. I worked at Burger King for 6 years back in the day during my early days of college. And wouldn't go back and do that again. That was some crazy stuff. You don't know crazy until you've been hit in the face with a Whopper by an angry customer who didn't want tomatoes on a sandwich. And I had nothing to do with that order. I was just part of the process. Ooh, boy. It's like, bam, and then ketchup everywhere. Before I turned around, my boss had already jumped over the counter. It was crazy stuff. Shout out to you, Lionel. You got my back, Jack. Wherever he is in the world with his BMW. Shows how much those managers made compared to the employees. Tom Laney, right, but I also think it's hard to open when it's exclusive and you can't find it. I open pretty much everything. Well, I will tell you this, Tom. We're probably not ever going to see a cheetah broad black arachnia in a very long time. So if you keep it mint in box and you wait 5 years, I will promise you this. Will it go up in money? Yes, it will, for sure. Because there will be demand for a sealed market for something like that. Because something won't come around to replace that. You know, we didn't get, Masterpiece Black Arachnia never got her toy accurate cheetah bra version. So nothing ever came around to match that. So the only way you could get that version is from what's in your box, pretty much. And everything else, though, unfortunately, I think at some point we'll probably get even like a purple primal. It's actually, there was a purple primal before that one. It was a Kabaya, but that's going into semantics and deep cuts. Ben Williams, did you have a TF character that scared you as a kid? No, no. Mine was Motormaster on screen, and then Unicron was a thing of my nightmares. No, as a kid, the only thing that ever scared me in terms of what was on television or anything like that, not even horror stuff, because I didn't watch horror movies until much later in my life, because my very first job I ever had was at a video store. And you want to talk slave labor? Oh, actually, let's talk slave labor. I used to we'll go on a little tangent. I used to work at a video store when I was 11 years old. 11 years old, Video Illusion, shout out to Salim. I loved it because, he was paying me $5 a week and I was there every day. And you would argue, oh man, that's slave labor. But to me, it was like an extra allowance. And it's not like he was working me to the bone. Video gets returned, for people who still know what video stores were back in the day, Blockbuster. Video gets returned, we put back the video on the shelf, we take the button, we put it back on the shelf. Oh, what a terrible, horrible job it was. And at the time, because it was the Street Fighter boom, Street Fighter 2 arcade machine was in the store. So when we weren't working, we were watching someone playing Street Fighter. What a terrible job to have, But when I used to work at that video store, I used to rent horror movies like crazy, and I would rent movies from my mom and stuff for free, because at the end of the day I could take a movie, I could rent it, and I could bring it back right away, and it doesn't cost him any money because it's the end of the day. But the only thing I was ever scared of, ever, and years later I love that character and I collect stuff of him, Ed 209 from RoboCop. When I was a kid, Ed 209 terrified me, just the thought of him, because that first opening scene of RoboCop, when Ed 209 destroys that guy, scared me to death. And then when Ed 209 fights RoboCop and is chasing him down the stairs, and then he falls down the stairs and screams like a baby, terrified me. When I was a kid and I played the RoboCop arcade game, I didn't know that you were going to encounter Ed 209 as the first boss, because I was like, it's the beginning of the game. Why would you encounter Ed 209? He comes on the screen. I right away go to my dad, play the game. I don't want to play. I think I was like 7 at the time. I didn't even want to look at the screen, because he goes, rah, 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 and then he comes on the screen. That's who I was scared of, Ed 209. Years later, I love Ed 209. I love the design. I love the concept. I love the idea of him. I have a ton of Ed 209 figures in my manga room. Like, I love Ed 209 now, but back when I was a kid, of course he scared me. But I think any kid at that age watching RoboCop that was supposed to be like a rated R movie, I think it would have freaked you out anyways. Especially that death of Murphy scene, too, would definitely do something about it. Where's the next question? We got a super chat by MechTech73. Thank you for the super chat. Did you see TF the movie last week in theaters? I was disappointed with the sound. Only front speakers were active. I was hoping for Unicron's booming voice. I did not see it, unfortunately, this time around for some weird reason. Last time they showed it in theaters before, it was in 2018 when they played it in the theaters, when they did that anniversary. I saw it in Montreal. This time around, one location, well, not one location, but one city in all of Canada got it, and it was Toronto, and it was 2 AMC theaters, and that was it. So I wasn't going to drive all the way to Toronto 6 hours to watch Transformers the movie to come back. I would have loved to. If it was available here, yeah, I would have seen it in a heartbeat for sure. You would have saw me going like, because I have photos with the first time I saw it. Michael Koo went to see it, and he told me all the little bonuses and stuff like that were included. What sucks is this time around they didn't give you guys anything, because when they did the 2018 airing, everyone got an exclusive lithograph, like a movie anniversary lithograph. This time around, no, you didn't get anything, which kind of sucks. I heard no one got like any cool stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. We're in a crazy world right now, so maybe they didn't have the extra income to be giving away stuff to celebrate the movie. MediaMax Proto, could Disney buy Hasbro for good? Good for the Transformers brand. They could incorporate them into the MCU. Disney's been trying to buy Marvel for years, and Marvel. I screwed that one up. Disney has been trying to buy Hasbro for years, and Hasbro for years have been like, go away. Disney wants Hasbro desperately, not even because of Transformers, because all of Disney's toy brands are done through Hasbro. Star Wars, the Marvel stuff, Disney Princess, all of those stuff is done through Hasbro. They buy Hasbro, they now get rid of having someone else do their stuff. But at the same time, it's also a symbiotic relationship, because Hasbro licenses their stuff from Disney. They pay Disney, Disney gets money. So it really has to do with who benefits what. I'm not going to get into the deep financials of it and how they're going to want to go about it, but I don't think Hasbro wants anything to do with getting bought out by Disney. And me personally, I don't want Disney to buy Hasbro. I don't want Disney to buy anything else, because Disney is creating a library of stupidity and monopolies that are no good for anyone that is considered a fan of product. I think Disney probably hurt Star Wars more than it helped it. Yeah, you like The Mandalorian, okay, that's great. But, you know, they had to trip like 5 times before they landed on The Mandalorian. So, it's not something that I would use as a prime example of Disney Star Wars. If anything, Mandalorian is Star Wars, not Disney Star Wars. Elsbleed 57 wants to know, Proto, I know you are limited in what you can say, but who do you think the Predacons will be in Rise of the Beasts? I cannot talk about that. Although something that I did kind of lightly talk about did get publicly said, so I could say that much. Cheetor's in the movie. That finally got publicly said, at least. That's about it for now. Guys, look, you know me, I would love to talk about it on the podcast, and people would watch it, and those videos would do gangbusters, but I can't. There was a respectful agreement there to allow me on the set out of respect, because I was there and who I am, and it was really nice of them to do that, and to break that promise would not be good. You know, that's why there's been like 0 movie talk on the podcast. And when the stuff is more public, we'll talk about it like crazy. It's the same thing with Storage Wars. When I was on Storage Wars, they literally made me sign an NDA for 7 months not to talk about the show. And I honored that, and then I waited like another year after that just to play it safe, because I wanted the episode to air and let it, do its rounds and stuff. I want to respect that. That's all I got to say about that. Proto, are you wearing silk briefs that were made in a sweatshop in China? I wear Hanes, and they are made in India. So, not China. India. There's your answer for that one. WTF, it's one. You've been whopped, buddy. I don't know what that means. Did I miss something? Let's see. We got... look at Star Wars Black Series. Very little to no sequel characters since changing to the colored boxes. Well, that's Hasbro's money. That's not Disney making those calls. That's Hasbro going, look, we want to make money. We saw what happened with Rose Tico and how there was nothing but Rose Tico figures. And Man, there was a lot of clearance places that had a lot of those, like those like those huge like no articulation, huge figures. They did one of Finn, and I remember going to one of these like closeout places, and they just had a wall of them, just like no joke. I'm not over exaggerating. There had to be at least 40 to 50 of them. Had to be. It was crazy. Like I took a photo and I sent it to John. It must be on my phone somewhere. I have to find it. There's too many photos, but it was insane. It was insane how many there were. Oh, maybe. Oh, God. It's going to take forever. I don't want to waste your time. But not to mention, we only have 20 minutes left. Man, today is flying today. But, man, like, they learned from those sequel toys. Those sequel toys just did not do well. It was brutal. What exactly did G1 Megatron record on the message on the golden disc? Megatron seems to have fully upper hand before the 86 movie. Well, the belief is that when his ship exploded in season 1, where he was in space and he's like, I shall return, and then he flies back to Earth from space, he found the Voyager, the Sounds of Earth golden disc, and then he was probably like, oh man, if I lose transwarp technology, which I find weird how he knew about that. Where is it? There's someone else asked something similar. Oh, anyways, but yeah, so Megatron always had the upper hand. Optimus always kind of held back, that's why whenever people say like, oh, Hot Rod killed Optimus Prime in the movie, read the Marvel Comics script of the 86 movie. Optimus still holds back. Hot Rod doesn't interfere. Megatron still shoots him dead. So, Michael Koo says, Proto Man, when you had a whopper thrown at you. Oh, yeah, that's what he means, when I got whopped. Yeah. I had a lot of fun there. I will admit I had a lot of fun there. And what was cool was while I worked there, we had 2 Transformer promotions. We had the Cybertron toys, which you could kind of see over there. There's 2 of them. We had the Cybertron toys, so I got to keep all the the store displays and everything of that. And then we had the first movie toys were there too, because I quit in 2008, so I didn't get to see the Revenge of the Fallen ones and everything that came after. I would have got all that stuff too. My friend did hook me up, who still worked there, but it was fun working there. It was a very educational experience when it came to the fast food industry and how people are very disrespectful to other people in the fast food industry and stuff. For every good customer that's friendly and talkative, you get people that just talk down to you which is I always found weird. Why would you disrespect someone who's making your food? Because something's gonna happen in the back. Let me tell you, be respectful. Be respectful. That's all I'm gonna say. Because you might get a little extra bit of protein in your food that you might not want. Do you know what's the deal with UK Marvel comics and the production costs increase, making them have to black and white? Okay, well, the thing with UK comic books in general, with Marvel being black and white, is because they're not monthly. That's the difference. They're weekly. And when you have something that's weekly, you gotta make it cheaper and quicker, like a newspaper. So that's the primary reason. Or sometimes they were bi-monthly. That's the reason why, there was all these filler stories and stuff compared to the Marvel USA everything. But that's just UK comics in general. That's not just Transformers, but a lot of other stuff. You have to you have to look at the culture over there, how comic book distribution is. Michael Koo for the Golden Disc collection is the Quantum Wave from the VOC. It's from when the Planet Buster exploded. And then there was the Quantum Surge that went and spread across the planet. So everything that happens in the Golden Disc collection is after the episode Other Voices, Part 2, but before the episode Aftermath, which is episode 1 of season 2. So it happens in between that, in a separate micro time continuity. That's why Pterosaur falls in the lava, because it's supposed to happen around that time. Princeton Phalanx 59 with the super chat. Have you ever heard about a Takara Tomy advertising Transformer themed Transeguri style bases? tense geg. Blah. Excuse me 1 second. Tense, gritty style bases. I have no idea what you're talking about, Princeton. You could just type a follow-up and I'll read it. You don't have to do a super chat. I have no idea what you're talking about. Some new news broke just now or something that I missed. Michael Butcher is now a mini-con, part of the members. Thank you for joining, Michael. Welcome to the crew. Ben Williams, there was a page in one of the G1 comics that mentions transwarp tech. I thought you said it came about in the G2 comics, or I'm lost on this. Well, the thing is that transwarp technology, how it's explained in Beast Wars, is different than how it's mentioned in Generation 1. In Generation 1, it's pretty much, here's our hyperspace. Here's how we move fast in Transformers. In Beast Wars, they repurposed it where this is what time travel is. So it's a little different. And Beast Wars is technically in the cartoon continuity, even though it mentions Primus. There's more stuff that leads to it being the cartoon continuity. So transwarp technology really isn't a thing in that one. You know? Same thing, Matrix of Leadership as opposed to the Creation Matrix, which has two different kinds of origins and explanations. Then we got Media Max. Who in your mind is the most underrated Transformer character? I vote Jazz. Oof, Jazz is not underrated. He gets the front page all the time. He should have at least the same status as Soundwave. Jazz is what's called second tier. Legendary 7, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, Devastator, and who am I forgetting? Optimus, Bumblebee, Grimlock, Soundwave, Megatron, Starscream, Devastator. There you go. There's your Legendary 7. Most important for licensing and everything of Transformers. Second tier, Prowl, Jazz, Shockwave. Who am I forgetting? RC is kind of on that now, too, because they need to have some kind of girl for that second tier. And Windblade is kind of inching in on that, too. Jazz is not underrated. Jazz is plenty rated. Plenty. You want to talk underrated? Talk, Outback. Talk pipes. Talk, talk Swerve. Talk, like, there's trust me, there's a lot of show characters. Talk Skids. Skids is underrated. Those are characters that have cool toy designs that never got proper representation in a lot of ways, especially Outback. I love Outback as a character. I feel like they could be more done with him. He would have been really fun. David Cabal is here. What's up, David Cabal? What did you do for Beyblades? Love the collection. Copyright. Do I have anything here? Oh, I don't have anything here with me. I have sometimes some of my copyright stuff that I show people. Just copyright on the packaging. That's it. I wish I had an example of it. Remind me next time, David. I'll send you some images. It's all upstairs. It's all upstairs in storage. Because I have a mint on card as comps. So, just copyright stuff. I got an opportunity to do that for the Metal Saga and Early Burst. It was just announced on TFW 2005. Oh, okay. There's some news. I don't know. I'll open it and I'll take a look at it later then. I don't keep the news open. We got 10 minutes left, guys. Oh my goodness. We are flying today. Was there a strategy to jump on the back of wrestling's popularity with the Marvel Comics wrestling stories? Were there just stories with no thought in popularity? Well, wrestling was huge. 83 to about 87, it was the biggest thing in the world because of the Hulk Hogan rock and wrestling era. I wouldn't be surprised if the involvement of the Micromasters with wrestling is there for a reason. But in the same way, could you argue that Spider-Man involving wrestling in his origin story was because of the popularity of Bruno Sammartino in the 1960s? Wrestling always has its ebbs and flows. Look at the Attitude Era in the 90s of wrestling. People tried to capitalize on that too. Anyone remember Ultimate Muscle? aka the Kinnikuman Legacy, and how they had NWO shirts, but it said DMP, Demon Making Plant, or Destruction, Mayhem, and Pain. Wrestling always influences a lot of things because it's so cool. Wrestling will always be cool. What is the next Titan class figure you think will be? Would you like a better Metroplex? Well, supposedly it's going to be a Cybertronian Metroplex. But if it's not, Nemesis would be the next smart choice. Who it would be, that's to be determined. If we create enough of a gap from the Trypticon release, then maybe another Trypticon. When is that trademark expiring? What year was Trypticon? Maybe it would make sense to do another Trypticon. Has it been 4 years? There hasn't been another Trypticon trademark since. Something to think about. But that would be the year after Legacy, so it'd be 2024, if anything. P.S. You could only do time left in Breams from now, please. That would be sweet. Oh, when you're talking, decacycle, megacycle, there's all different ways that Transformers want to document their time. Beast Wars has their way. And Beast Wars had their own language, too, before we had the Cybertronian. I believe in Bumper with the super chat. Do you think Hasbro will start using Windblade again? Of course. She hasn't had much self-presence lately, and I haven't seen much of her pop up in any leaked listings. There will be more Windblade. She literally is, in my opinion, the Wonder Woman of the brand. Like how DC has Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Of the Transformer brand, I feel like, which is Optimus, Bumblebee, and Windblade. She is like the Wonder Woman of the brand. She really has elevated up to that point. We'll see something for sure. For sure. I would not be surprised if the next TV series... Look, Transformers RID 2015 had her. Cyberverse had her. Whatever the next series is going to be afterwards is probably going to have her in it too. They need to have that face for the brand. If they were somehow able to justify her being in War for Cybertron, which they really wanted to keep it very G1 flavored, but if they could have justified her being there, she would have been there in the War for Cybertron Netflix stuff too. 2007? Was it 2007? So yeah, it's definitely been 4 years. So it's up there. It could happen. It could happen. Hasbro has to put out a Windblade action figure to keep that trademark in 2022. When was the last one? It's a good question, too. Putting me on the spot. When was the last one? I'm on the fence. Well, you have to understand, after it expires the 4 years, they then re-register it, and then they have another 4 years to do something. So if it expires in 2022, they re-register it, and then they have 4 years to do something with it. So they don't have to put anything within all that time. Obviously, it'd be silly not to, because then you're wasting your time. But they could put something legally out in 2028. It would suck, but it's a fact. The Podsky with the super chat. I'm on the fence on canceling my War for Cybertron ARC order since Pterosaur is coming with the golden disc. Talk me out of canceling it. Well, let me tell you this right now, okay? It's all about the long game. 5 years from now, which do you think will be more expensive to get in the secondary market? The ARC or those Pterosaurs? Chances are, I get a feeling the Pterosaurs are going to probably be more difficult than the ARC. I feel like the ARC at some point is going to keep popping up. Hasbro Pulse will have oh, hey, we have a whole bunch of stock of them a year from now. And you'll have an opportunity. Also, the secondary market of it won't be as much as a pain. Even if the ARC goes up 100%, right, in value, it's still $200, You might pay a little more. And you could buy it at a con, probably, tax-free. Yeah, it'll suck to put in your suitcase. But Pterosaur and a lot of those Golden Disc guys, it's the same thing. Look, how many of those Earthrise, ones do you see in the secondary market, really? The ones that did sell out, How many of those do you see in the secondary market, let alone for a decent price? Not so much so. Where how many Omega Supremes you see? I see a lot more of those in the secondary market for a lot more modest price. A lot more realistic price. Compared to what its MSRP is to what the scalper or the upsell is asking. So, that's just one way to look at it. But that's playing the long game. Like, oh, 5 years from now, you regret it. Now you want to get the Ark. What is the status of the Ark? Or you got the Ark, 5 years from now, you regret it. Now you want to get Pterosaur. What's the status on that Pterosaur? What also, and like I mentioned at the beginning, what if that Pterosaur ends up getting reissued somewhere else in better colors? You know? That's another thing, too. Then the whole purpose of that Golden Disc Pterosaur goes in the toilet. You know? So it's a whole other situation, too. You need a golden disc to tell the future. You need a crystal ball to know what's going to be happening. But the finances are going to be very different depending on that conclusion. We got 5 minutes left in the pod for the day. It's been great, guys. Well, I'll still be taking questions, but I just want to say while I wait for some more questions, it's awesome, guys. Once again, having you all here for the stream. We topped out at 198 people today, and who knows how many popped in and out in the madness. We need re-releases of Predacons. Missed out on Predaking. Predaking had a really short window too, and I found that, he came out around that time when Toys R Us was kind of on its way out of the American retail world. So that kind of also made it difficult because I guess that Hasbro was really banking on Toys R Us to be the carrier of that product for the big stuff. But I'll tell you this right now, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Predaking again in the future at some point. I mean, right now they used the trademark with the Rescue Bot stuff. So, I mean, that's where they're going to stick it for now. But and it's an Autobot, oddly enough. Predaking Autobot. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Toy Robot issue number 4. Yeah, so anyone who knows, Toy Robot issue number 4 came out. I'm a featured article on there. I was on the cover, too, for some weird reason. I'm in that. They did an interview with me. There's also an interview with Heather, who's one of the premier females of the Transformer fandom. She has an article, too, in there. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Really cool magazine. I haven't gotten my copy in the mail yet. So some people already got their copy in the mail. I think someone told me it's sold out already, my issue. The back issue, it's sold out. So, I mean, if you didn't get it, I'm sorry. I'm not responsible for that book. I know that a certain Aaron Archer, I think, is going to be in the next issue. So, not in the next issue or the issue after that. One of them in the future issues. I know that he did an interview with them too. So, I'll answer this one here. Hey, Proto, have you been to 80s Toy Expo in Toronto? I used to sell tables there. If so, is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it, but not now, guys. Guys, let me tell you something, okay? Guys, this is just my take. Stop going to conventions right now. Let me tell you something, okay? If we want to get out of this, we need to stop creating these kind of scenarios, okay? I understand, we all think we're invincible and stuff, but we got to beat this, and then we'll start having good conventions. You're going to show up to a convention that because of space laws could only have 50% of the tables they could have in the room, and because of social distancing, you have to wait in a long line because they only have 50 people in the room at a time. Why are you going to go to have a half-assed show? Do it right or don't do it at all. Jazz's line, do it with style or don't do it at all. I would wait, guys. Take that money, go to eBay, buy yourself something nice. That's what I say. Ultra Primal, I'll take care of Ultra Primal's question here because Primal is cool. I'll be finishing my review of Transformers Animated in a couple weeks. Do you have any suggestions on which show I should review after Animated? Did you do any of the Takara stuff? The Japanese original stuff? At all? Like Headmaster's Master Force Victory? I don't know. I don't think you did any of that, did you? You could do Headmasters because it's boring as hell. So if someone does like a condensed version of those episodes, people will enjoy them more. Some episodes are good, but obviously some episodes are really drag. That's why they really changed it up afterwards. Tom Laney, as always, thanks Proto for your time. Fun as always. Thank you. Andy Davis, another great stream with the Starscream. Thank you, Andy. Oh, it's true. We're done. Oh, man, we're done. Okay, guys. We are done the stream, unfortunately. Wow, we are done. We are done. I didn't realize how fast everything passed. Anyways, guys, thank you all for coming. It was super fun. Again, if you want to support the podcast, patreon.com/protoman. Link is in the description below. If you don't want to do the Patreon thing and you want to do the YouTube thing and become a YouTube member, like a lot of our little icon bros out there, there's the button down to join too. If not, just come hang out then. Watch my content. I don't care. If you want to support the podcast, I appreciate it. If you can't, all right. There's nothing I can do about that. But aside from that, guys, thanks for everything. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Symbiote Studios and Hasbro for being sponsors that also keep the lights on for this craziness, for the daily Transformer news. And as always, guys, like I say, with a Beyblade, roll out.